Come into this special Tuesday Wrestling Tuesday, the Tuesday Night Wars. Jonathan Hood with you, along with CJ Taylor from the CTJReport.net. And we're here to break down what we saw from AEW in Independence, Missouri, as well as NXT from the PC in Orlando, Florida. CJ, as always, I appreciate you, brother. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm great. I'm exhausted. We haven't done this since the 90s, right? Like
Right.
two screens, like there's wrestling on one TV, wrestling on the other TV, and it's just like it's just crazy. If you're watching on YouTube, leave your comments. We'll read your comments at the end of this podcast. And of course, if you're on X, you can follow along on X, and that is at it is Good Karma Wrestling, GKW_wrestling, in which you can find Good Karma Wrestling every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific, with Brian, Gabe, and yours truly. But we got to break this down, man. I mean,
Yeah.
About it.
Wow. This is way different than the 90s when you had to flip from channel to channel between Raw and Nitro. But this is a wild night for professional wrestling. Great night for professional wrestling if you're a fan of it. We've talked about this before. I don't get into the tribalism. This was just awesome to see, to have these two shows up against one another. And man, let's get into it, because it was a lot happening at the same time.
Well, let's just call the time here because we're both on Central Time. NXT
Hmm.
was off at 9:08 p.m. Central, so they had an
Hmm.
8-minute overrun, and AEW said, "F that, we're going 9:14, 14 minutes extra." And just to set it up for those that are just tuning in, if you watch social media all day Tuesday, while CJ was working, I was already off and just getting ready for this Tuesday Night War,
Hmm.
and it was back and forth. Triple H putting tweets out there, Tony Khan putting tweets out there, like Triple H's like, just so you know, we're gonna go 30 minutes, no commercials. And then as Tony Khan says, I'm going no 30 minutes also. We're gonna go 30 minutes. As a matter of fact, I think he went, if I'm not mistaken, 40 plus minutes without a commercial. Is that correct?
I had I had it clocked in 46 minutes
Oh,
without commercial.
46 minutes. I mean, it was just something, man. So we got to get into this. I got notes everywhere on this
Yeah.
special Tuesday, Wrestling Tuesday. So, just on the surface, CJ, I just thought that NXT did their thing, sprinkled in
Hmm.
with superstars from the past and present, and
Yeah.
AEW did with their thing and saying, we're just going to give you action. Not a lot of fluff, just give you action. It's
Hmm.
really the difference between the two companies, right? NXT has some acts I was not familiar with, a lot of
Hmm.
promos. They're trying to build up to their next
Yeah.
event. And AEW's here for the here and now, just trying to give you, just trying to shove in as much action as they could in 2+ hours.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. That was the complete difference between the two shows. This is NXT. We both know it's developmental, so they have to try to, get with the promos so the wrestlers can connect with the crowd. Sprinkle in, a Cody Rhodes, sprinkle in a John Cena, sprinkle in, a Paul Heyman. But AEW just right off the bat just said, "Hey, let's get straight to it." And Swerve versus Brian Danielson was phenomenal.
Yeah.
That was a pay-per-view match. If that was any other wrestling show, if that's your main event, I mean, those two cooked from start to finish. So you can see already the stark contrast. Cody comes in, does his promo, makes a few announcements. Meanwhile, I'm on the other screen, and Swerve and Brian Danielson are just going ham.
It's something like you start off with both shows, you get a long Cody promo, like for
Hmm.
14 minutes, and that's just typical WWE, right? You got to start off with a
Yeah,
promo to set up the table, so that's
yeah.
about 13, 14 minutes. On the other side is Christian in the back in the truck, and he's like, now you can just tell he's one of
Yeah.
the, if not the biggest heel in the company right now. He'll say anything.
Oh,
Let,
oh,
let me
for
ask
sure.
you. Let me ask you something, CJ. Back in your day,
Hmm.
in your dating life, did you ever use the line, "Put some clean sheets on the bed, Daddy's coming home"? Have you used that? What? What is he doing, man? I don't think I've used that. I went back in the Rolodex. I'm like, I don't know if I've used that before.
I don't think I've used that one either, but that's what makes Christian Cage great at what he does with this heel role that he's got. I mean, he is liable to say anything, as we found out when he and Adam Copeland met for the first time when Adam debuted. So you got to love what Christian Cage is doing with his character right now.
So you're right. Like Swerve and Brian Danielson to lead things off. That's a main
Hmm.
event usually on Dynamite, but in this iteration of these Tuesday Night Wars just for tonight, you
Yeah.
went big with Swerve Strickland against Brian Danielson in a match in which Swerve did fall short. A lot of gaga
Hmm.
around it, but it doesn't hurt Swerve. Swerve clearly they're giving him finally the push that he deserves as one of these heels. I'm still a little murky on the whole mogul situation, but I know Swerve's the start of that and Brian
Hmm.
Danielson beats him. On the other side, we get Asuka against Roxanne Perez, and it's like that's good
Hmm.
for Roxanne Perez. That's a
Yeah.
learning situation taking on Asuka. But when you talk about Swerve and Danielson, that was a banger to start things off.
Oh, absolutely. That one was on the big screen as I kept flipping back between my big screen and the iPad. It's like, no, Danielson Swerve, that's on the big screen. I got to watch that. Asuka and Roxanne Perez, like you said, it was a learning curve for her. That was a good experience for her to go up against an established star, really one of the all-time greats in terms of Asuka. So that was a really good experience for her. But it was a match. It was a decent match.
Sure.
But when you've got Swerve and Danielson on the other side, Tony Khan decided to swing big, and that was a home run to start things off.
And again, there's going to be a theme of the night of NXT doing their thing like they do every Tuesday, whatever
Hmm.
that is,
Yeah.
cultivating young talent, getting them promo time. Other side, AEW does what they usually do with Dynamite. So we get Tyler Bate in the Brawling Brutes against Gallus. Gallus, I was a fan of when I was watching NXT UK. That was
Hmm.
kind of like my little private show that no
Yeah.
one was talking about. Like you put it on the old like WWE Network, you put it
Hmm.
on like wow, you get a Tyler Bate, big strong boy. You get some
Yeah.
Gallus in there. It's like it was really good, right? Kind of quietly off the radar, but it's a really good show. So they're
Hmm.
part of NXT now, and so again, just a lot of spots there. Tyler Bate did something that was just crazy. He had a couple of crazy bumps in that. We got picture
Yeah.
in picture in that match at 29 after the hour. So that's
Mm.
the first commercial they took was in that match. So
Yep.
I mean, just a lot of spots, fun. Is very good. Other side here, we get Hobbs against Jericho, and so
Mm.
CJ, shout out to Jericho for pretty
Yeah.
much losing clean to
Hmm.
Hobbs. Fantastic.
Yeah, and not only losing clean, that was a squash. That was complete domination from start to finish. I was a little surprised at how little offense Jericho got in this match. But that's good for Powerhouse Hobbs. I'm a fan of his. I really want to see him like really do well. So
Mhm.
for him to get a big win like this over again a future Hall of Famer and Chris Jericho, that's great for Hobbs. So I was really happy for him for that one.
It's the strongest that we've seen Hobbs in a what I would say against a very strong opponent, not like a preliminary match, like
Hmm.
against a real contender, like you mentioned, a Hall of Famer, and for Hobbs to continue to just squash, to power slam, to
Yeah,
put Jericho on his back. Like
yeah,
it made it seem like, oh man, it looked Jericho looked his age in that match. Did he not?
he did. He really, really did. I don't want to say he looked a step slow, but he looked like he just really like could not keep up with the power of Powerhouse Hobbs, no pun intended. Yeah, that was just like I said, complete domination from start to finish. That was something to see, and I think that was a little surprising for the fans. That you expect Jericho to do his thing, get his offense going, and other things, but to completely just you know give up clean for
Yeah.
Hobbs, that's big.
That was something. That is for sure. The spot in the Tyler Bate Braun Brutes Gallus match, Tyler Bate with a dart to the hand. I don't know if you saw that. He puts a
Yeah.
dart right into the hand of one of the guys from Gallus. I'm like, what is this? What kind of nonsense is this? But it was a really good spot fest and a lot of action in that matchup. Hobbs and Jericho, very surprising.
Yeah,
Um, so you know, this is a night of vignettes. See, I got two sets of notes here, so I got
right.
that's why I'm going back and forth. You know, CJ, the way we grew up watching wrestling, was the vignette or the video got
Hmm.
you into the arena, got you into watching the pay-per-view. And we
Yeah.
got great vignettes from both sides. So
Hmm.
Becky Lynch is pushing this book, but that vignette I had never seen before about Becky Lynch was very interesting, about her
Hmm.
background, about her start in the business. I thought that was cool. And what we've seen from Samoa Joe, you talk about a boss, right? Little cigar, little
Yeah.
drink, suit. I'm like, I'm with that, right? So both shows, I think they did a really good job with vignettes.
Yeah, they did. I'm gonna give a slight little edge to Samoa Joe because I'm a Samoa Joe mark.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, yeah, both strong vignettes. Samoa Joe just boss. It's just like he draws you in. You want to see him win the AEW world title, based off these vignettes, based off the promos that Joe can cut, and just based off the type of wrestler he is. So that was a really cool promo right there.
We have a poll question up at GKW_wrestling on Twitter right now, on X. First of all, you can be able to be a follower of our feed, but also we have a poll question about which was a better show for you, NXT or AEW Dynamite. You can vote right now on X and also leave your comments on what you saw on this Tuesday night. So we get a Cena promo, and this is the most hyped Cena promo on NXT because and let me make it clear. It's not like I watch a lot of NXT, but I know that that's a
Hmm.
smart crowd. It's a
Yeah.
smart crowd in Orlando. I know
Hmm.
that much. And for that crowd to be rapping Cena's theme, I'm
Yeah.
like, when have we ever seen that? Like they knew word for word, right? And Cena got
Yeah.
goosebumps. Clearly, he marked out himself like, you all know the words. Yeah, John, you've been coming
Yeah.
out to the same music for 20 years. Yes. But I know that he felt like, oh, wow, like these
Hmm.
people actually like me. Yeah, one fan that said Cena sucked, which he enjoyed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the crowd was behind Cena.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to see, as well. Like you said, the NXT crowd, smart crowd, they get it, they understand it, even though they're watching, wrestlers like develop before their eyes. They understand, the industry. So to see them like rap his whole song and then kind of switch it when Breaker comes out and they start chanting Braun Breaker sucks and Cena theme was a pretty cool moment too. But that's what where the difference between the two shows. NXT was here to show you some of their youngest stars, but again, what WWE probably does better than anybody else, they give you moments, and this
That's
was
ex-
another moment of Cena being on NXT.
There's no question about that. Just a little something that I'm sure other podcasts will pick up after we say this.
Hmm.
Okay, so Breaker comes out there and the crowd is saying bullshit. And they just kept saying it, right? And in
Yeah,
USA, they're bleeping it every time. I mean, the
yeah,
censors got to work on USA. It shows you the difference between USA and Warner Discovery. It's a
yeah,
big difference, right? There's some things you can say and some things you can't say. But did you notice the subtlety of Cena stepping in and stopping the crowd? He said, no, no, no.
hmm,
This is a learning moment. Did you notice that? He puts the hand up. He's
yeah,
like, no,
yeah,
because if he didn't stop them, the crowd would be
hmm,
chanting the same thing. Unlike Rock in Denver,
yeah,
saying what he said, and the Fox censors had to keep hitting the button on the Rock,
right,
right? But Cena stopped the crowd from continue on because I'm sure in his mind he goes, the word bullshit is not going to work on USA Network. As loose
yeah,
as USA, it's not going to work. But I just like the
exactly,
subtlety of Cena stopping the crowd. Like, no, no,
hmm,
we're going to finish this promo so people can hear it. Because I'm
yeah,
sure he's thinking, well, every other word's going to be bleeped. So smart
hmm,
by Cena.
absolutely. That's to your point as well, making sure we get through this promo because the purpose of the promo again is to one have Cena out here for the moment, and then two to again continue to try to build up Braun Breaker as this heel, this heel character that's going to come out and challenge the goat. So yeah, kudos to Cena on all fronts on that. He understands the crowd, how to move a promo along, and how to control the crowd. He's one of the best ever to do that.
While we're having our conversation, we want you to bookmark the ctjreport.net. That's where you can find our co-host here for this Tuesday Wrestling Tuesday. Bookmark that. check out the best in pop culture, wrestling, and everything else. I'm sure that there will be a 2,000 words on the Tuesday Night Wars at some point the next
Oh, it's
24
coming.
hours. I'm just
It's coming.
guessing. I'm guessing. I'm guessing you're going to fire up the computer and write
Yeah.
about this because this is interesting tonight. Okay, so over here, Phoenix against Orange Cassidy on
Mhm.
AEW. Okay, let's go back. So Ray Phoenix was not supposed to win the championship to start with. John
True.
Moxley was injured, concussed, so he could not continue. And Phoenix won the championship, which I'm happy with because Phoenix deserves to be a singles champion. I think that
Mhm.
that guy is world championship material, and he's with a tag team right now. So, but
Yeah.
it gave you a taste of what Phoenix can do. It wasn't a long enough reign for me. They gave the championship
Mhm.
back to Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy now is a two-time international, international champion. That's cool. And I thought that Cassidy's run was really solid. He proved a lot to me. He's not just a character. He's a character,
Yeah.
but the guy was like a workhorse champion. And I'm sure that he'll be at the top of cards on Rampage or on the
Mhm.
Collision shows and, really getting some footing again on pay-per-view if he holds the championship long enough. But, I mean, I thought it was a disconnect in Chicago for Moxley to win. I really think that Orange should have went over in Chicago. He did not.
Mhm.
So I'm happy for Orange Cassidy because I think the championship is in good hands for sure with him.
Oh, absolutely. He is going to be able to put on bangers against a number of opponents while he holds that belt. He's going to make that belt be important. And you know, would I like to see Phoenix, hold a bigger belt, AEW World Championship, TNT Championship? Sure. Well, we would all like to see that, but I think this was the right call to put the belt back on Cassidy because he's going to be the the person to make that belt really mean something.
So we get a title change, and this is like 45 after the hour. In the first hour,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a strange time to do that. Not at the top. I don't know. I just think that if you're going to do that, it should be one championship that changed hands. We'll tell you later
Mhm.
what else happened at AEW, but I just thought it was an odd time. Like, and Orange Cassidy, was it me or was there a little bit more focus from him? Not a lot of God. It seemed like he was really hell bent on winning that championship instead of all the histrionics we usually get with him.
Yeah, he was extremely focused, none of the hands in the pocket or the, little mini kicks, that he does. Now he was focused from start to finish. He was hell bent on winning the title tonight. He got it done.
Okay, let's go over here to NXT. So the NXT champion Dragunov, who I'm a big fan of. Again, I talk about NXT UK. Him
Yeah.
against Gunther, but at that time, Walter, during the
Oh,
pandemic. Oh my God. You know, you
just
and I go back a long way. It's a top 10
yeah,
match in my lifetime.
yeah. It
Because
that's a match. If you out there have never seen that match, first of all, shame on you. Secondly, secondly, if you have seen it, go back and watch it again. That's just how great those two are with each other. But man, yeah, I'm like you. I like Dragunov as well.
Dragunov against Dom Mysterio. Okay, these matches are for Dom to learn. I
Yeah.
understand that. I understand that he's one of the biggest heels in the company. He can't speak on the mic until he's in his booth. I get that. His association with Mommy is over. People like it.
Hmm.
They like the Judgment Day act. I get that. It's
Yeah.
just that when I watch Dragunov in these matches, CJ, and at NXT, that's just half speed Dragunov. Because I know that he's a lot better than this. Like he's
Hmm.
fine. And he's a good character. Nice robe too, by the way. That's nice robe for a Russian.
Yeah,
What was
I was
that
kind of
robe?
digging it. I was kind of digging it.
Wait a minute. That's not what he wore before. He was just a mean Russian out there with the crazy
Yeah.
eyes and the hair all over
Hmm.
the place and just going through people like a missile, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
what's going on there? I mean, what was he, Ric Flair?
Yeah. He's got robes now. He comes out in suits to talk with Cody Rhodes. I mean, it was like, who is this guy?
That was bananas. So I understand that. And this is LA Knight as the referee in this matchup. Okay, my man's got his Timberlands on and sunglasses, and he's the referee in this match. What a gimmick. What a gimmick.
The most over person right now in WWE by far, it's not even close. Is LA Knight. Yeah, that was a fine match. I agree with you. Dragunov was clearly going at half speed. Um, with Dirty Dom in there, you really want to see Dragunov at full speed and just really watch him go because that is a thing to watch. Hopefully, we can get that. Hopefully, in the near future, depending on who he faces next for the title. But yeah, for what this was tonight, it was fine.
I saw Dragunov against Carmelo Hayes. If you watch Good Karma Wrestling or if you listen to it, you've heard me say this before. When it comes to major events with NXT, I pick and choose. Like, I see the pay-per-view on Peacock, but it's just like, no, don't know that person.
Hmm.
No, no. And I know that sounds unfair, but I only have so much wrestling bandwidth, right? Like, I don't have time to watch these kids. I got
Right,
time for your
because I
kids,
mean,
man.
yeah, because I mean, there's still Impact to watch. So
Right. I just get to the matches where it's like, why is this main roster person taking on this NXT person? Let's take a
yeah,
look, right? I'll watch
yeah,
that, but just like Chase U and all this stuff, I was just lost. I didn't understand. I like
yeah. I'm still having trouble with the whole Chase U gimmick. So if you guys can help us out with that one, feel free.
I don't know. It may be over. I just don't know because I don't have
Yeah.
time. Like if it's a main roster person like a Becky Lynch on there, or like you see Cena, and okay, let's take a look and see what that looks like, right? How
Hmm.
much have the kids learned under the tutelage of some of these veterans that come to the
Hmm.
performance center? I just don't have the time. Um, Going back and forth, what was more interesting? The Tony Storm close-ups, multiple close-ups, or Jade Cargill coming out of that limo with that outfit meeting Shawn Michaels? Because we got both of those tonight.
Yeah, almost happening simultaneously. So you're
Yeah.
depending on what you wanted to watch more of. It's kind of running neck and neck. I didn't like the fact though that they put Tony Storm in the picture. Like we should have been able to see that full screen because again, when you talk about over characters right now, uh, probably Tony Storm and Christian Cage are the two most over in that company right now. Kudos to Tony Storm for just completely reinventing herself with this 50s Hollywood starlet
Oh,
character. I mean, she is killing it right now.
it's kind of like, and it's weird how it's some people look at this. They just think that she's just jerking this thing off like Shawn Michaels against Hulk Hogan, like she's overdoing
Hmm.
it. It's like, oh, they just gave her this, and so she's just over dramatic. No, 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 no. This is a gimmick. This
Yeah.
is what 1960s, 1950s wrestlers look like, women.
Hmm.
Like the
Yeah.
way even my wife came in and like while I was watching, she's like, oh, that's interesting. That's like an old school outfit. She was like, yeah, yeah, it is. It was fascinating to watch this whole thing with Tony Storm. She's not trying to mess this thing up. She's getting
Hmm.
over with this
Hmm.
black and white picture, and I want to make sure. Let's talk about this too. So people like you were bitching on social media saying we wanted a full screen Tony Storm. No, you didn't at that point in time, and here's why. It's a silent picture.
Ah.
That was the gimmick. She said in the promo, she said, we're going to do pictures silently like they were back in the day, back in my day, whatever she was saying, right? It's a
Yeah.
silent picture. You're just supposed to watch because if that was full screen for 4 minutes and there was no audio, everybody would have been pissed. They would have said, oh, TBS again with the bad audio problems. That's what they would have said. No, that was supposed to be the silent picture. So you were going to ignore the commercials and just watch her. That's
Hmm.
the gimmick, right?
And again, yeah, you're right. She pulled that off brilliantly, and it just again just killing this thing. I mean, it's amazing how she's come up with this character and just been able to completely reinvent herself. It's going to be fun to watch her going forward with this character. Just how much more deranged can she get? As this Hollywood starlet character. I'm loving it.
So check this out. Let's talk about this. It's so over with us, and I love it, just like you love it. She's so over now, she doesn't need the title. Eventually, she's going to get one of the two of the titles eventually.
Hmm.
But as this is
Hmm.
going on now, this is when the gimmick is more over than the championship. There's a lot of
Hmm.
wrestlers over the years. the Ravens, Jake the Snake Roberts, Kevin
Yeah.
Sullivan. It's
Hmm.
wrestlers over the years. It's like they don't need a title. They're because
Yeah.
their status is over. It's top shelf. So you don't
Hmm.
have to give them a championship to justify their gimmick. Same thing with
Hmm.
Tony Storm. Just keep going out there, just throw in the shoe, tits up, chin up, and watch for the shoe. I mean, who says tits on TV? She says tits on TV.
And apparently can get away with it. So
Yes,
more power to her.
it's great, man. I absolutely love it because it's different and it's cool.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I like that a lot. And Jade Cargill just making cameos, it blows my mind. It just shows you Vince is further and further away from the company because
Hmm.
her name would have been like Sharonda
Yeah.
Rogers or something like that.
Yeah. Something like that. I mean, that, yeah, people were wondering, when the rumors started that, when her AEW run was done, was she going to come over to WWE and was she going to keep her name and things like that. So yeah, one, I'm very happy that she's able to keep her name and her gimmick going forward. It's going to be also interesting to see just how uh, well she's going to be able to develop now that she's with WWE. You have this performance center and you have um, elite wrestlers, and this is no shot at the women's wrestlers in AEW, but when you have, trainers and wrestlers that you can really, just soak in information like a sponge, I'm really excited to see what Jade is going to do once she gets into WWE on the main roster. We're assuming she's going to the main roster.
Yeah, it's just different, CJ, because they're like, there's this star, Jade Cargill. Star
Hmm.
from what? WWE? She's just a
Hmm.
star that's coming to, like, it's amazing because that's not the usual way that WWE does business. But they see
Hmm.
star, they see movies, they see dollars. And
Oh yeah.
I know AEW's got some things under their sleeve that they're looking to pull out, which is cool. But Jade Cargill, I mean, she used AEW as a stepping stone to get to this point. I can't wait to
Hmm.
see what's next for her. I think that's great. So she comes out, and we saw Tony Storm with her close up a couple times. I like this new Wardlow. No promo, just come and just
No,
kill guys. I,
yeah.
I just I just want to let Sky Blue know something. Chicago's own Sky Blue know something. Let me show you something. Watch the beginning of Wardlow versus Seidel. Matt Seidel knew he was going to get crushed, right? When the
Oh.
camera was on him,
Mhm.
smile. Matt Seidel. It's Matt Seidel. Like, still smile because
Yeah.
if you think, I might win this one, knowing he's going to get
Hmm.
crushed. When Sky
Oh yeah.
Blue takes on somebody, when she takes on Julia Hart or somebody else, they give her the announcement, and homie with the hat turned backwards, it's just like, it just bouncing on the ropes. Just
Yeah.
bouncing the ropes. Oh, Boo Boo Face, you're going to lose tonight. With Matt Seidel,
Hmm.
he made it seem like he's going to win. I know he's
Yeah.
high. I know he's high. But the point is, though, is that at least Wardlow, no music, does a symphony, and goes to the crowd. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was grand opening, grand closing. I think I put on Twitter. It's like, oh, Wardlow's back. All right,
Hey,
and Wardlow's gone.
they've done him wrong, and they got to
Uh,
fix it. They got
yeah,
to
they
fix it.
do. They do. You can't have a monster, like him, and just completely waste, somebody who looks like that and can wrestle like that. Like you really have to utilize it. Same thing with Powerhouse Hobbs. You have to utilize characters like that. These giants. To kind of offset, what you have in AEW with the Bryan Danielsons and the Jay Whites. You're kind of smaller, more athletic, technical wrestlers. You need your monsters too.
So we get that. So we get the breakout tournament for the women on one side, Danny Palmer against Lola Vice. A good starters match. It's fine.
Hmm.
Just two young people trying to find their footing.
Yeah.
Other side, so we get Jay White in his matchup here. Too many pages here. Jay White against Adam Page. Okay, so it took 4 guys to beat Hangman Adam Page. Okay, so my question for you, sir, is so how many times is Adam Page gonna lose here?
Mm.
Right? I mean,
The bigger, yeah. How many more losses can he continue to take? before the fans begin to lose interest in him. He's definitely cooling off over there in AEW. And I think if he's supposed to be one of your young pillars, you can't have him taking, that many losses like that. So they got to find a way to try to heat him back up, get him in a rivalry where you can put him over, because this eventually, and we've seen this whether it's AEW or WWE, where the fans are drawn into somebody, Dolph Ziggler,
Oh,
and, and he constantly loses and loses and loses. And then you want to care about him, but you can't, because every time he goes out there, he's going to lose.
we're giving you this special podcast, this Tuesday Wrestling Tuesday, ad free. For those of you listening on the podcast and, of course, on YouTube as well. I'm using my YouTube account tonight, but, of course, go to YouTube. As you're watching this on YouTube, some of you are watching, go to Good Karma Wrestling if you're looking for a lot of content for pro wrestling. It's on Good Karma Wrestling. Hit that YouTube. We need more subscribers there. Same thing on social media, on Twitter, on X, at GKW_wrestling. We have a poll question up. Which show did you like best? Is it AEW or NXT? Okay, so the Jay White, Adam Page. We talked about Adam Page piece. So Jay White, this Bullet Club Gold is starting to really get some traction here. So this all started on Saturday nights. And it's like, oh, this is a nice little thing they do have on Saturday nights because you need star power. Let me just rewind the clock. When I first saw Jay White in New Japan, and they gave him everything. It was like Kurt Angle when he came on the scene. Give him all the championships. Give him all the money. Give him all the championships. And when I thought on Jay White was, wait, this is way too soon. I didn't get it. I was just like, nice Australian wrestler. Like I didn't hear the promos. He was just a decent, above average wrestler. This guy coming back to America exclusively, more of the style that we're used to in America as far as his mic skills. There's personality there. He says he's the champion. It's almost like they said, CM Punk, we're going to cross you out, okay? And we're going to put Jay White in that same thing, holding a championship that's not really his. That's what I think. I feel like what we're watching here is what CM Punk was supposed to go through. I'm the real world champion, that kind of thing. And I think that this is Jay White replacing CM Punk in somewhat of that same type of storyline.
Oh, absolutely. Him stealing the title away from MJF, and them two now having this rivalry. Jay White, Bullet Club Gold, the guns, this is all gold for me. I was not a Guns fan at first. I just thought they were this I thought there was this tag team. Like, what the hell are they doing here? But they've been able to reinvent themselves, and now forming an alliance with Jay White, Juice Robinson, Joliet's own.
Oh, Jesus.
And they formed a formidable stable that's fun to watch.
Yeah, that it is. And Jay White just continues the victory against Adam Page. And by the way, I don't want to see Prince Nana without his crown and his outfit.
Ever again. Crown has to be on every single time. Like, what are we doing here, people?
Because that dude is telling me a Streetwise outside 79th Street without it. Without the crown, without the outfit. I'm like, that dude's pants barely up, sweater too small. I'm like, come on, bruh. You're a prince.
Come on, what are we doing? Like, you're supposed to be decked out like Akeem, coming to America. What are we doing here?
I watched that. I'm like, I should never see your hairline like that. You should never have a sweater like that. I was ashamed. Nope. I was ashamed of Prince Nana. I'll tell you this quick story. I was at ROH at Chicago Ridge when he used to run Chicago Ridge, like I think maybe 4 times a year. And it was always sold out because it's small place, but they have all their TV at Chicago Ridge. I'm just standing there against one of the pillars, just chilling, right? I wasn't sitting, I was just standing. And there's a guy that came up behind me. He goes, "Hey, bro, where's that guy? Where's that handicapped kid in the wheelchair?" And I turned around. It was Prince Nana. It was like out of character, though. He was like, "Hey, bro, hey, man, where's that dude in the wheelchair? I got to give him an autograph." I'm like, "Nana? Yeah, where is he?" I said, "He's over there." "Thanks, bro." And he just goes over there. It's like, where's the accent? Where's the kayfabe? Weird, right? Weird, but it happened. So Jay White goes on to victory. But that promo though, so the MJF's promo is the babyface promo of his life. Oh
Hmm.
my God, CJ, like his promos are the top of the top, the tippy
Yeah.
top. That promo he had in Independence, Missouri, on Wednesday night was the best babyface promo that he's had. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. Like if you weren't sure, you had to be sure for watching that. Like, okay, for sure he's a babyface.
That promo tonight basically that solidified it. Whatever questions you had, or if you're thinking maybe he's going to turn heel again, or things like that. No, that this did it. This cemented his status now. It's probably the top baby face over in AEW, and it blew the roof off. The crowd was really into it. They loved it. You know, they want more of this MJF. So it's going to be exciting to see him going forward as now the top baby face. Hmm. With the belt.
I'm sure there was a conversation with Juice Robinson and MJF before Joliet's Own did that racist, very edgy thing that he did
Ah,
there by pretty much
ah,
telling MJF, "I got these quarters for you. You're Jewish. Come get these
oh,
quarters." And I'm just like, you know what? And for those that think, we're not speaking out of turn, we're talking about a story that MJF told
yeah,
as a youth where there are people in high school that would say, hey, you're a Jewish kid, go get the money. They just throw money
yeah.
on the ground and tell them to go pick it up. So he told that story. I've heard that in interviews too. But then
Hmm.
for Juice Robinson to do that, so I got these quarters for you with your name on it, Friedman. And I just like, boy, that's edgy. To the point where MJF had
Oh,
to leave after that promo. It's kind of like,
yeah,
that's the edge, man. That's the edge that
yeah,
AEW has that WWE is not going to go there. They won't.
yeah. Yeah, WWE wouldn't touch that. AEW, they have no problems being habitual line steppers. So, um, yeah, that was almost cringe, given the history about that. That was just you kind of like, ugh. Like I don't know if we needed that line, but okay.
That's okay, CJ. In 1989, there were still tar and feathering black wrestlers in Alabama. So, and Gordon Solie
Yeah,
thought it
that's
was
true
cool.
too.
So, and
Yeah,
Gordon Solie, look at that. Sweet brown sugar, Skip Young. He's being tarred and feathered, called a boy.
yeah.
So that's, I mean, it's something that you can tell a story without doing that.
You can.
But it just shows you how edgy that is. Like Juice Robinson, completely quintessential Joliet, Illinois, quintessential
Hmm.
Southwest suburbs, out of his mind, saying whatever, doing whatever, and he was Juice Robinson. And again, we talk about going from Japan to America. Like these guys that have spent time in New Japan come over to AEW and they're just completely acting out. Completely,
Hmm.
they're just out of control. It's amazing, but fun though and interesting.
It is fun and interesting. That you can tell with Juice Robinson, with Jay White, they were just ready to just burst out scenes once they got over here to America and AEW to just really, dive into these characters. So they're having the time of their lives, a little less cringe, but still having the time of their lives.
Very, very edgy for sure. You know what made me smile, CJ? You know what made me smile?
What's that?
What made me smile is the Brian Pillman Jr. vignette. You see Brian Pillman Jr.? I
I
mean,
I, I did see it. Is he going to keep his name?
no, it'll be a different name. It'll be a different
Okay.
name. But they gave a reason though. There's a
Yeah.
reason. He
Yeah. There
resents
is.
his father. That's the first
Mm-hmm.
time on the record or in character. Like, I didn't know my father. My real father is so and so I'm not going to
Yeah.
use my father's name. That's how you
Right.
do it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Brian Pillman Jr. always felt generic to me. I wasn't trying to
Hmm.
say his name should be Curtis Axel. What I'm saying is that Brian Pillman as Brian Pillman would have been fine. He was underutilized in AEW. I've seen
Hmm.
him in the Indies a lot. Brian Pillman Jr. can go, but his name's going to be different. I'm surprised he's starting NXT, but that's fine. He's going to wow them because he's already a seasoned veteran. But
Yeah.
imagine this as a storyline. I hate my father.
Hmm.
I resent my father. He's dead. How many
Hmm.
people have come to me and say, boy, your dad was a great character. Boy, your dad was great. Boy, your dad's life got cut short. And Brian Pillman Jr. resents that, resents his dad, and he's going to use a different name, and he's going to use that as fuel to go through WWE. It's never been done like that before. Usually, you just remove the name, get the name out of there. There'd be somebody completely different, like Joe Hennig, but Brian Pillman Jr. in this way, they had the TV, the remote showing old Nitro. You heard Jim Ross on commentary. I'm like, what are they doing? Like, what's going on here? And then they pan over to him. His beard cut is crispy. It's different now than he was. So it's interesting to me. They're going somewhere with this.
They are, and it'll be interesting to see what Brian Pillman Jr. can do with this character, with the obvious name change coming, how he's going to be able to, bring that character to life. Obviously, probably going to be a heel. Him starting in NXT, I don't really have a problem with it. It could be a good challenger for Dragunov. Other matches you could possibly see in NXT before he comes up to the main roster. But yeah, the character right now is what I'm interested in to see how this is going to develop.
I think this is pretty dope. I really do. I thought it was a little bit more than I expected with Shida now becoming a 3-time women's champion over Saraya. I'm like, we got one title change. Do we need two? Do we need two?
Yeah.
I mean, look, Shida winning the championship's fine. Let her keep it for a while to find out what she can do. Stop taking the title off of her.
Yeah, these mini runs feel very Sasha Banks-esque. 2016, she wins it and then she drops it like 3 weeks later or, a month later or something like that. She's a phenomenal worker. Let her get some run. Let her get some, quality wins, some quality title defenses up under her belt, before you decide to move on with another wrestler. I think she's earned that right, to be quite honest, to be able to have a lengthy run with the AEW Women's title. But again, that's just me.
I agree with that too. I thought the match was good against Saraya. A lot of Gaga there. We saw Toni Storm running out there with just one shoe, with the shoe, chasing away Ruby Soho.
Yeah,
it's a lot of craziness around ringside, but Shida wins, and she's now a 3-time champion. It's fine. Just let her hold the title for a while. Saraya won the championship. I thought that was I didn't understand that. You and I talked about Saraya won the championship, and I told you at the time in England, I'm like, you're just doing it because her family's there. It's not like she deserves the championship. The faction was solid, but her winning the championship and then her coming across as a baby face, it was just weird for me.
Yeah, that didn't totally click. That whole title win for Saraya over in All In. It just didn't click. It just really didn't make complete sense in that regard. But again, it was in front of her home country, her family. I can understand why you want to do that, but just from the standpoint of her, like you said, being deserving of the title, it didn't really make sense to me.
MJF needs help from Adam Cole, and we saw a vignette early on the show. MJF says he didn't want to be interviewed. He tried to call Adam. Adam's as a bad cell in a bad area. He needs help, and then here comes the Acclaimed. You and I off the air have talked about the Acclaimed, and there's a heel amongst the Acclaimed, is it not? Who's the heel in the Acclaimed, sir?
You know who it is. It's the one that keeps stepping over the line with his raps.
Yes. That guy's a heel and an asshole.
Yeah.
And I don't know if everybody knows that. Like, he's got the cute raps and everything, but I have a problem with him because I don't understand what he's trying to. What is he doing there? Like, Anthony Bowens is one guy. So what's this other guy trying to do? And we're not talking about Billy Gunn. Like, what's he trying to do there? It's very strange.
Yeah. I can see some type of split coming up in the future for them, and Max Caster being the heel in this story, because he has a lot of asshole tendencies, a lot.
You know that he's been a heel the whole time, right?
Oh, definitely.
It's like, I don't know if the audience knows that, though. I don't think the audience knows that. They just think that his raps are cool, but I think he's been a heel the whole time. And Anthony Bowens we got a chance to talk to him on Good Karma Wrestling. Great guy, great dude,
Yeah.
former baseball player. You know, he's actually kind of shy. He's like, I can't believe that we're scissoring people in the streets. He's just amazed by all the.
Yeah.
But Max Caster, yeah, a bit of a jag. And I don't know what he's trying to do. He's just like, MJF's playing hard to get. What does that mean? What are you trying to say, sir? What are you trying to say?
Yeah, this is what is he trying to say? You know,
I don't know. I'm very confused by Max Caster.
A little bit, yeah.
But maybe they will be able to get with MJF and they can be part of the 8-man tag. We will see. So I'm going to ignore Christian for a second because I'll keep looking at this quote, put some clean sheets on the bed, Dave's coming home. So I'll go over here to the left side here and talk about Bron Breakker against Carmelo Hayes. So Carmelo Hayes was on Busted Open on Sirius XM today, live. And he just talked about how cool it is. He's got all these mentors around him. Shawn Michaels works there, and William Regal works there. Undertaker stopped by. John Cena was there. Cody Rhodes is there. So Carmelo Hayes, and I've only seen him wrestle several times. I can't give you a thorough breakdown. I saw the young man, as I mentioned to you, in Bakersfield, losing the championship to Ilya Dragunov. And I've seen him a couple times, and they believe he's the future. Cool. I hope that's the case. He wins this matchup against Bron Breakker. Again, gaga around it because John Cena's there in Carmelo Hayes' corner. And then there's Paul Heyman in Bron Breakker's corner. I just love how they're trying to open up and let you know a little bit more about Bron Breakker. Like, hey, we know that your father was one of the Steiners. He's a wrestler. Your uncle is a wrestler. So I think it's become pretty obvious now that people need to know that Bron Breakker is part of the Steiner lineage. And Bron Breakker loses.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Why is Bron Breakker still in NXT?
There's something going on with Bron Breakker. It's not because of the company, because he already would have been up there, right? It's something going on with him, and I can't pin it down. Whether it's attitude, whether it is an issue internally with wrestlers down there, maturity. I don't want to speculate until I find out. But I think this is the kind of situation where he got humbled tonight by The Undertaker. It's kind of what a Vince would do, right? You know what? God damn it, pal. We're going to bring The Undertaker in and he's going to squash you so you can learn, so you can be humbled. I'm guessing that's what it is, which tells me that after this humbling, I expect him to be in the Royal Rumble next year. But I think there's a problem there because otherwise he would have been up by now, right?
Right. I mean, usually what happens after you get lengthy title run, and either you go out on top like Asuka did, or you drop the title like most champions do before you head up to the main roster. That's usually the next progression. Him dropping the title and then still remaining in NXT was a bit of a head scratcher because we were all like, all right, well, he's about to come up now, and he didn't. So, maybe there may be some things that he still needs to learn. There may be some, backstage things, that are going on, but I just find it interesting that he's still there and might get jumped over by Carmelo Hayes. I mean, Carmelo Hayes, I've seen a few of his matches. He has that charisma. He has, the ability. He's connecting with the fans. He might jump over Braun to make a main roster run, but I just thought I asked you that question.
Carmelo Hayes is a point guard in a wrestling ring. Put it that way. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing like a basketball player in a wrestling ring. And that's not a negative. I'm just talking about like his swagger. All of it seems like it's about him. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. I like. Again, I only seen him several times, but I'm like, yeah, that's a guy there that could be a star in the future for this company. And so, and Bron Breakker will get his. There's no doubt. And I just find it interesting that in this overbooked show for NXT and for AEW in some ways, that the Undertaker had to come out, make an appearance, and then squash Bron Breakker, as if there was a reason for that.
Maybe there was a reason. I just find that all interesting.
And it wasn't even the Undertaker; it was like the American Badass, because I guess it would have been a bad look for Undertaker to come out with the hat and
Yeah,
The whole thing, the whole outfit after he beat AJ Styles years ago.
yeah. So I guess he's officially retired that character now. So he's gonna be the American Badass going forward. Cool.
Tight tight turns in that PC for that motorcycle. Tight turns. Probably should have rehearsed that.
A little bit. A little bit.
He's asking Booker to come in. Booker's like, no, not me. Shucky ducky, quack quack. Shucky ducky. Why is it that the play-by-play guy is looking like he just got out of the gym, but like Booker's just like G'd up? Why does Vic Joseph look like that? That's weird.
Yeah, I found that funny as well. That was the first question that popped in my mind. I was like, was he late to the show? It's like,
I always question the luggage being lost, but I know that wasn't the case. I think they dressed
yeah,
casually, and Booker just went. He just put on his Sunday best for whatever reason. It just looked uneven.
yeah, it did. Yeah.
Didn't understand that. Put some clean sheets on the bed. Daddy's coming home. Luchasaurus takes on Adam Copeland. Really good matchup. And
Yeah.
for the overrun, because NXT ended at 9:08, if you were
Hmm.
interested in AEW, you turned on like, oh, Edge is on. Damn.
Yeah.
And he's taking on this lizard character. What's going on? And there's Christian on the ramp. Man, oh man, there's a lot that happened with this. I thought it was really cool for Adam Copeland's first match. It's funny
Hmm.
online, people talked about ticket sales. Like, oh, for Adam Copeland's first match, it's Independence, Missouri, dude. It's not even Kansas City. Like, I always say this. You heard me say this a million times. You're probably tired of me saying this. Man, look. Oh, the Blackhawks won.
All right.
Looking at monitor 3, I see that they won. It's a Wednesday night. You got kids. You got to get up and
Hmm.
go to work. If you can get 4,000 people in an arena, you're
Yeah.
winning on a Wednesday night. Are you kidding me?
All right.
That ain't Chappelle going in there. That is AEW wrestling. Like on a Wednesday night, shit. It's good that you can get that many people in there to see Adam Copeland. But as an Edge fan, I was happy to see that matchup. A lot of
Hmm.
stuff going around it because there's Nick Wayne involved, there's Christian
Hmm.
involved, and Adam Copeland was able to survive and win the match.
Yeah, strong match overall. Nice debut match for. Are we saying Edge? Can we say Edge?
No, can I say it?
So strong win by Adam Copeland.
Yes.
He's gonna need some friends soon because with Christian Cage and Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus, I envision a lot of beatdowns in his future until we get some friends on this side.
That's true. That's a great point. He does need some friends. That is true. He is going to need some friends. Because Christian's going to be traveling with Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus. However, there's going to be a Luchasaurus turn here at some point because he's like, "Why'd you hit me with the title? Like it wasn't me." Like at some point, Luchasaurus will turn babyface and all will be well in the world, and Luchasaurus will go back to the mid card. That, my friends, is a terrific night of wrestling. Let me ask you this. Is there anything I missed? The one thing I want to ask you, I should ask you before we came on the air, but I'm asking now. Did we get an Adam Copeland promo in these 2 hours? Did I see that? Did I miss that?
No, I don't think no, there wasn't an Adam Copeland promo. No, I think these came out to the ring and they did the match, which is a little weird.
Well, that's a miss because
Yeah.
it's a new night, new audience. Edge is part of your Edge. Adam Copeland is now part of your team, your company. Yeah, I think that Adam Copeland for his first time in AEW should have had something to say. Unless I missed it. I don't think I
No,
thought I wrote everything down. For Adam
no.
Copeland not to have a promo to promote his match against Luchasaurus is
Hmm.
wrong, if that's the case.
Yeah, no, you didn't miss it. He did not have a promo before the start of that match. They just brought him out, which is like you said, that was a miss. That was a missed opportunity there for those who may not have seen him on Collision, to be able to introduce himself to those who watch Dynamite. So yeah, tiny misstep there by Tony Khan.
CJ, who won the night?
All right, so if you're here for the wrestling, AEW by far. When we talk about Adam Copeland, Luchasaurus, Jay White with his match, and then that banger of a match between Bryan Danielson and Swerve. You were here for the wrestling, AEW gave it to you. If you're here for the cool moments of, oh wow, Cena's on NXT, and oh wow, Undertaker's on NXT, and Cody Rhodes is on NXT, then you may lean toward WWE. I personally felt AEW had the stronger show, because at the end of the day, we want to see good wrestling, and that's exactly what you got from a pretty strong card on Dynamite.
Well, it sounds like that Dynamite, I mean, they went above and beyond, right?
Hmm.
When you're going 30, would you clock it in? You said 45 plus minutes without a
Yeah,
commercial?
45. Yeah, yeah,
Boy, I tell
40.
you what, can I just say that's a partnership. That's a real partnership between Warner Discovery and Tony Khan to get that much time and then get that much
Hmm.
overrun on the back end. That's a lot of wrestling for free without ads. That's something.
Yeah, it shows you that Time Warner Discovery, they're going all in. I think they really believe in the product. They believe in the promotion, and they're gonna really want a strong partnership with AEW. So kudos for Tony for making it happen. Uh, I mean, anytime you can go nearly well over 45 minutes without a commercial break, that lets you know that the network that you're on believes in what you're doing.
So far, 59% of you said Dynamite is the show that you enjoyed the most. 41% says NXT. We'll keep that voting open so you can give us your thoughts on that. I thought that AEW always delivers with the wrestling. But the
Mhm,
thing is that long-term storytelling comes from the WWE. I know Tony Khan
mhm,
resents that. He thinks he has the best stories going on in wrestling. He has some. It's getting better. That is for
yeah.
sure. Over the
Mhm,
last, I would say, 6 months, I think that the storytelling, and clearly there's someone else that's in charge of that, that's making that happen. But
mhm,
but to me, as I texted you during the show, I said, "Hey man, NXT is doing their thing. They got the sprinkle of the star power there, but
yeah.
for the most part, they're still going by their storylines for you to come back
Mhm,
next week. And as far as AEW is concerned, Tony Khan felt like that he was going from behind. He felt like he's like, well, I got a battle because I'm not on my night. It's Tuesday night. We're head to
mhm,
head with NXT, so I'm going to give you 2 title changes. I'm going to give you Swerve, and we're going to give you Brian Danielson, and we're going to give you, we're going to give you Christian and Adam Copeland at the end, and we got
mhm.
all this. I mean, MJF promo. He just gave you everything that he had, but not everything because it's not like we saw Omega and the Young Bucks. I
Yeah, right.
mean, it's not like we didn't get that. I mean,
Yeah.
but you got some Don Callis, you got some stuff. But point is though
Mhm,
is that AEW was not their usual AEW Dynamite, and there was a reason because they took on NXT. So let me just give you the headline: if NXT loses to AEW tonight, you know what Triple H is going to say? You know what he's going to say? Congratulations to them. You beat our developmental. You beat our
uh,
developmental.
yeah.
See, that's how he wins, right? It's like, oh, it's
Mhm,
our third brand. So you beat our third brand. Congratulations. That kind of thing, right? But if NXT wins, if they win the night, oh my God,
mhm,
it'll be press releases. It'll be in my inbox in the morning. It's gonna be just
mhm.
like congratulations to NXT, the most watched NXT ever, all that kind
Yeah,
of
oh
stuff.
yeah.
And it very well could happen because this is not AEW's night. Tuesday night is not AEW's night. So I don't know, man. I just think that when Triple H makes it seem like it's not a wrestling war, we know that's bullshit. We know that it is a wrestling war because why load the card up with John Cena and The
Mhm.
Undertaker um LA Knight? Why'd you have to do that? Why don't you just throw out Gigi Dolan and all the other people that you have? Just put up two regular. If it's not a wrestling
Yeah,
war, if it doesn't
yeah,
matter, we should see no stars. Just
yeah.
roll out there what you normally do. That those kids there's learning how to hip toss. No, they didn't do that because it's really a rivalry, isn't it?
It is. It is amazing how he continues to do things for something that's supposed to be a pissant company, as he most famously called it. So you don't bring out John Cena and The Undertaker and LA Knight and Asuka um, for your average Tuesday night against a pissant company. You don't do that. He understands what the game is. So he had to bring out some of the big guns for tonight. So it'll be interesting to see what the ratings are in the morning.
A couple of notes for you before we're out of here. Eric Collins says that if it was a TV or movie and Juice did that, nobody would bitch. But for some reason, it's done in wrestling and it's a problem. He's talking about the whole coin thing. It's
Yeah.
no, it's not a problem. Like AEW could do whatever they want. I'm just
Mhm.
saying that it is edgy. I don't have a problem with it. It's edgy. Listen, race in wrestling has been part of the whole thing for a long time. We can go back to Booker versus Triple H and break that down for an hour.
Oh, can we?
Oh,
Uh,
oh, the overt racism in that
yeah.
promo of pretty much Triple H, the long flowing blonde hair, the championship, the suit, and just telling
Mhm.
Booker T that you're an entertainer, dance for me, do that Spinaroonie thing, do that whole
Yeah.
thing. If you like that whole, it had that Lex Luger, Ron Simmons feel from the
Mhm.
early '90s, right, where Harley Race
Yeah.
is the manager, like that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like Luger saying to Ron, you know what, you can't be the heavyweight champion because I'm the heavyweight champion, but I'm looking for a driver. I'm looking for someone that can be
Mhm.
able to drive. And like this was '91.
Right.
It's like what? So no, it's not. It's not that it's a problem, Eric. It's just that the point is we have to point it out. It's like it's edgy, and they're
Mhm.
trying to go somewhere with it. We're just pointing it out. Tater72 says a couple of things. He says that he loved the Brian Pillman Lexus King will be his name. Lexus
Okay.
King, because there's a family dynamic with that. So Tater likes
Mhm.
that as well. Thought that AEW was the better show. So those are amongst some of the comments that we got on YouTube. And again, go to Good Karma Wrestling and hit that YouTube as you're watching this. That's where you can get all the wrestling. If you've missed any of the content, all the interviews, all the shows that Brian Gabe and I do for over here, Good Karma Wrestling.
Right over there. You see it.
Yeah, right on my shoulder, wherever that is. Yep, mirror effect. Good Karma Wrestling. That's where you can find us every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on YouTube, and of course the podcast as well. Any final thoughts there on this very special Tuesday Wrestling Tuesday? Any final thoughts?
Again, as we said at the top of the show, if you love wrestling, tonight was the night for you. It was a special night where you had the two biggest companies in the industry just kind of going head to head, and you get to see stars on both brands, and it was a really cool night on both sides. Regardless of what you're here for, if you want the moments, you got it. If you want the wrestlers, you got that too. So it was a great night all around.
All right, my friend. Don't forget to read CJ Taylor, his blog, the ctjreport.net. Make sure that you bookmark that because he'll have some words on everything pop culture, including what we saw a Renaissance night. This is how I started in the wrestling business. Those Monday Night Wars
Hmm.
back in the day, where I would be on after Nitro and Raw, 10 to midnight, taking calls from all over the country. It was rare at the time in the 90s, and here we are again. Two shows against one another. Cannot see what the end result is, but I know the result that we wanted is that we all win as wrestling fans. We all won tonight because we got two tremendous shows, different styles, but nonetheless, still great wrestling. For CJ Taylor, I'm Jonathan Hood. Don't forget to catch me on Captain J Hood, weekday morning, 7 to 10 on ESPN 1000 and streaming on the ESPN Chicago app. We will not be talking about this on the Captain J Hood show, but you can catch me.
Cap, you mean Cap won't have questions?
No, he won't have questions. That's why we have this forum, sir. That's why you can catch the podcast, the special Tuesday Wrestling Tuesday edition, as we talk about the Tuesday Night Wars. Thanks so much for watching and listening. And again, go to the poll question. Check it out. We want you to vote on what was the better show, AEW or NXT. So long, everybody.